We are here today with Ashley again. She is in Zadar this time, and it's a beautiful day. She's filming again, and she's going to film for some time. And this time, in this interview, I wanted to ask some questions that are more about tourism and habits and lifestyle, especially comparing the lifestyles of seasides between the United States or California and Croatia. So if you can tell us something about similarities, differences, and things like that are striking out in Croatia as being, for example, vastly different than from California, or strikingly similar, for example.
Well, I can assure you that it is completely different, the California seaside lifestyle and being here in Croatia. First of all, the coffee is much better here. I drink it about 6 times a day. It sort of fuels me to get through the days. But in no way do I ever sip coffee sitting with Roman ruins behind me and with such beautiful architecture. So, and then the sea, I can see it from where we're sitting here. So, okay, life is great in California on the beach, but it's a lot more fast-paced. Here in Croatia, you guys really enjoy your life, and you take the time to have 5 or 6 cups of coffee a day. That's a big difference that I notice, and one of the reasons I love Croatia so much is because I feel like my days are very complete, like I enjoyed my day, I took in every moment, I didn't just speed through my day to just get to the next thing. So that's something that is definitely different here in Croatia.
So, for example, here in Croatia, people are socializing through the whole day, from the very beginning in the morning to very late night, and sometimes often during the middle of the day. I suppose that in California people are much more oriented towards the late night or the evening, perhaps.
Well, for instance, my schedule in the States, usually if I want to socialize, it would be meeting up with someone for dinner or something like that. Usually not too much in the day because you have your working schedule. You wake up, you go to work, you get through your 8 hours, and then if you have time to hang out with friends, you usually do that after work, usually not just in the day. So, my schedule could differ from other people's, but here, yes, at lunchtime you can meet someone at the corner cafe and grab a cup of coffee, and that's completely normal.
And what about some business meetings? I guess it would be outlandish to ask someone to make a great business meeting, but in a cafeteria somewhere outside, even if it's a tremendous job business opportunity. How would people react to that in California?
You can for sure meet with someone for coffee for a business meeting in the States, but you have so many cafes because look at this weather; it's so beautiful that everyone sits outside. They enjoy when the weather is nice. They want to have their coffee outside. There's clearly not this many tables at cafes in the States, so that's one thing. So you guys, because you have that opportunity to have those cafes everywhere on every corner during this prime season, then it only makes sense to have it outside. Where in the States, there might only be 4 or 5 tables out, so you kind of have to fight for it to get it. But it is normal to have a meeting over a cup of coffee, but I think it's much more common here in Croatia for sure.
Okay, another question. It's more about tourism. For example, in Croatia, most tourist destinations are either hotels or apartments, privately owned apartments, and marinas as well. I would like to ask you, tourism in California and in the States in general, is it also like in the private sector? Is it also apartment oriented, or is it more like small hotels and things like that?
It's actually, I would say, more large hotels. There's a ton of hotels along the coast in California and throughout the United States, and I think having more of that I know all throughout Croatia, everyone's renting like an apartment or something during the high season for people to stay in, and that makes perfect sense if they have that room available. You won't find that too much. You can find it if you look for it, but I think people are so used to just having such a normal way of travel in the States that they'll just go and they'll stay at a hotel that's comfortable. A lot of big hotel chains. So that's the way most people, I think, are traveling through the States. And that does differ here because you can find those private accommodations that I think, you really feel that the warmth of the Croats. And that's something truly special that you guys have here. There are bed and breakfasts in the United States as well. I always enjoy going to those. It gives you more of the personality, and you really get to learn more about a place, and you also really get to meet the people that are running the business. And that's one thing about Croatia is obviously the people, I think, and I've said time and time again, are so wonderful here, and having those opportunities where you can stay in an apartment. I'm currently staying in an apartment in Nin right now, and it's great because you get that home feeling, and I can walk to the Konobas and just really feel like I'm living there, even though I'm only there for a few short nights.
Do you think, is it a question of trust in the States? I mean, it's a much bigger country and a lot of people live there, different people. Do you think it's a question of trust that people are trusting each other more in Croatia, so that's what allows them to basically either enter a stranger's home or to accept a stranger into their own home?
Well, I think just bringing Americans to Croatia in the first place is something that I'm trying to help with and improve to bring them here. But I think that I have no problem trusting someone and having in the home, and you do have that feeling. But then again, Americans were so used to staying in hotels. Sometimes we might trust the hotel more just because that's what's comfortable. So it's stepping out of that comfort zone that really, people need to make that extra little leap in order to be like, you know what, I'm going to go to this new country. I'm going to try something new, whether that's staying in an apartment or staying at a hotel that's comfortable. I think they're open for all of those options.
And what about hiding from everybody for the holidays? Do the Americans have this habit of finding some tiny little place somewhere on the seaside or in the mountains where they can just hide in no hotels, no television, no mobile phones, just a tiny village that they can spend their quality holidays with their whoever they go with?
I think there is that opportunity to find that. Maybe not as much here as in Croatia, but yeah, I mean, there's small mountain villages, even in California, that people can go and escape to. Again, for instance, in Croatia, there's these little villages around every corner that some might only have a couple hundred people, or some might be, in Istria, I think it's the smallest town in the world is there. So obviously there might be more opportunity for that, but people have their secrets in the States. They do have them, and so if they're looking to be secluded, you can definitely find it. The United States is huge, but what's great is 4 million people in Croatia. To me, the country seems so large because I've driven through it and I've seen it all. Well, not all of it, but a lot of it. And I hope by the end of this, I will have seen it all. And constantly, I'm discovering something new everywhere you go. So you guys can always, I feel like, find that little secluded place to escape. But we can find it too. It's just, we really have to keep our secrets a secret so that it doesn't develop into something much larger.
Okay, and the final question for today. What if you were in some Croat's shoes and you went to the States, and considering all that you saw here, until now, what would you suggest would be the most strikingly different in the States tourism-wise, like some sightseeing tour or some landmark that is, except of course New York, which is a site in itself, and a city like that doesn't exist in Croatia, but some maybe natural or artificial wonders that can be found in the States that would be definitely a wow effect on somebody from Croatia?
Well, the thing that's so hard is when, I mean, anyone from Europe, I think, that comes to, or, anywhere in the world that comes to the United States, it's hard to, just say that you're going to go for a couple weeks because there's so much to see. Of course, you have to come visit me in California. California is a great state, but it really is, because you could go snowboarding and go surfing in the same day, literally. I live in San Diego, and I could do that. But as far as things to see, if you were to come to the United States, I would say the top cities would be New York. I love Miami. I think Miami's great. Everyone loves to visit Las Vegas, Colorado. The Rocky Mountains are beautiful. And then California, which really has the mountains and the sea and the wineries, and really has a little bit of everything. But as far as the man-made landmarks, I mean, the Statue of Liberty is a must in New York, but there's so much natural beauty, like Zion National Park and the Grand Canyon, and a lot of this is in the western part of the U.S. too. So I think always a drive up through California is a great way to see so much. You can see the wineries, and you have the sea, and you can go through the mountains. You can visit many national parks as well, but then you're not too far from going to visit the Grand Canyon. You can drive from California to Vegas in just, a few hours from LA. And so there really is a lot to see. Some things that would really shock, I think, a lot of Croats when they get there is our freeways. Their 5-lane freeways might be a little bit intimidating. And like I have struggled very much with the manual car here, I think maybe you'd struggle with an automatic there. No, I don't know. It's very easy. But I like to say that because that's been my challenge here in Croatia. But I mean, again, there's so much to see. Obviously, I'll speak highly of California, but I mean, Colorado so much of it is so beautiful, and you'd really need several months. I'm spending several months here in Croatia, but to see the United States for its real value and really get a feel for it, then you gotta stay for a while.
Okay, so I lied. This is going to be the final question. Croatia has high mountain ranges, it has plains, it has coasts, lakes, hilly parts of Croatia. But the United States are so big that there are literally some parts of the country where it's just flat. Which parts of the United States would you say are similar in fashion to Croatia, in this that they have it all? You mentioned California, but maybe some other states as well.
Well, I say California because we have the wine, we have the sea, we have the mountains, and Croatia has a little bit of it all too, And oh gosh, I'm going to compare Croatia to California. Some people might disagree with me, but it really does have so much to offer, and that's what Croatia has as well. For instance, the weather too. In Southern California, the sun is always shining. Here in Dalmatia, the sun's shining, and look at today, it's beautiful. So I would compare at least the landscapes to Croatia and California. They're very similar. Yep.
Okay, so that was the last question.
Sure.
Yes, I am. So see you next time.
Okay.